Section 5.5, we get into a new term, which is Venn diagrams. Many of you probably have heard of Venn diagrams before. What we're going to cover is what is a Venn diagram and how does it help us in stats. So how can we use this in what we've been covering so far with our probability. So example 1, it says, let's say you are flipping 2 coins. Okay, A is first toss is heads, and B is the second toss is heads. Okay, if you are trying to find the probability of getting both coins to be heads, these are not disjoint sets, and the picture would now look like this. So if you look in here, okay, this symbol in the middle, you know, we had that like U looking symbol that meant or. This symbol means and. Okay, so the middle right here would be both our heads. Okay, in the exact middle here, it would be the first toss is heads, which is A, and the second toss is heads, which is B. On the left side, so this one, this means that the first is heads and the second is not heads, or it'd be tails. The second is not heads, which would mean the second is tails. Okay, on the right side, that AC, this A with a little c means A complement. That means the first is tails because it means it's not heads, and the B means the second is heads. Okay, so we have heads and heads, we have heads then tails, and we have tails then heads. And then the outside, right here, everything outside would mean they are both tails. Okay, so those are the possible outcomes. They're both heads. The first is heads, the second is tails. The first is tails, the second is heads, and then the outside is both tails. And I'm going to fix this because I don't like this. This would be first heads, second tails. Okay, so notice there is some overlap. So the first one could be heads and the second one could be tails, and the first one could be heads and the second one could be heads. So you see there is overlap between these two circles. Okay, and that's what we kind of get into today, because everything we've covered so far, there has been no overlap. So for example, there are 200 male juniors and seniors at Logan. Let's say there's 200 males that are juniors or seniors. 50 of the males play football, 12 of them play basketball, and 7 of them play both. Draw a Venn diagram to represent the given facts. Use the diagram to answer the following questions. So if we draw a Venn diagram, okay, we would have 2 circles. Okay, this would be basketball, and this would be football. Okay. So they tell us that there are 50 males who play football, there are 12 who play basketball, and there are 7 who play both. So we have to actually work from the inside out. So if you look at the both is that overlapping part in the middle. The both would be right here. So how many play both? There are 7 that play both. Okay, so 7 are in football and basketball. And then we can zoom back out. How many of them play football? Well, there are 50 total that play football, and what that means is there should be 50 people in this circle. If 7 of them are in the middle where it's shaded in red, how many of them are not in the middle if there's 50 total? So 50 total would be 43 plus 7. So what this means is 43 males just play football and not basketball, 7 males who play football also play basketball. Likewise, there are 12 males who play basketball. So there are 12 of them that would be in this green circle. 12 total. So if we have 7 of them in the middle, how many would also be outside of the middle? So 7 and 5 is 12 total. So you see the basketball circle has 12. The football circle has 43 plus 7 is 50. Notice it's not, that 7 in the middle is not written in there twice. It's just 50 on the right circle, 12 on the left circle, and then the overlapping part is 7. Okay. So how many males, if there are 200 total, how many of them don't do either? Well, we have 43, so there's 200 minus 43 that just play football, minus 7 that play football and basketball, and minus 5 that play just basketball. You would end up with 145. So there are 145 males that don't do football or don't do basketball. They do neither. So, how many boys only play football? 43. Because again, there's 50 that play football, but 7 of those 50 also play basketball. So how many only play football is 43. How many boys only play basketball? That will be 5. 5 only play basketball. How many boys played football or basketball? So how many of them did either? They could play football, they could play basketball, or they could play both. So either would be the 5 plus 7 plus 43. So how many play either? 55. There are 55 of the boys that do something, whether it's football or basketball or both. And how many boys play neither sport? We just said if there's 55 that play one or the other, there's 145 that do neither, because there's 200 total. And we found that out over on the right, over here. Okay, so notice the part I want to point out is that they said there's 50 that play football. We didn't just put 50 in the football circle. We had to make sure that we had the right number on the inside where they overlap, and then we worked out. Okay, and then number 2 says a company has a bid on 2 large construction projects. The probability of winning contract A is 0.6. The probability of winning contract B is 0.4. Lastly, the probability of winning both contracts is 0.2. Draw a Venn diagram. So we're going to draw a Venn diagram. You draw your 2 circles that overlap, and we would have the left circle we'll call job A, and the right circle will be contract or job B. And again, we work from the inside out. So the overlapping part is 0.2. So this part in the middle, where they overlap, they're saying is 0.2. What this means is there's a 0.2 probability or 20% chance that we win contract A and we win the contract B. So we get both of them. Okay. And then if we look at them individually, the probability of winning contract A is 0.6. So on the left side, in this blue circle, I'm going to make it blue. The probability of winning in that circle is 0.6. And we already have 0.2 in the middle. So if it's 0.6 for that whole circle and the inner part is 0.2, what's left? 0.4. Because 0.4 and 0.2 is 0.6. And then the red circle. In the red circle, the probability of winning contract B is 0.4. So if 0.2 is already in the green overlapping part, what's left to be on its own in circle B? Well, there's 0.2 more, because 0.2 and 0.2 adds up to 0.4. Okay? So it says draw a Venn diagram. illustrating the probabilities. So there is a 0.4 probability or 40% chance you just get contract A. There is a 0.2 probability you just get contract B. And there is a 0.2 probability that you get both of them. Right, and then that was just pointing out the overlapping part, and that's all we got for today. I will see you all in class.